My dad and stepmom kicked me out while pregnant after I lost my job. Now they want grandparent rights after seeing my baby online. I, 23, have never imagined I'd be sharing something like this, but I really need advice about my situation with my father and stepmom. To give some background, my mom passed away from breast cancer when I was 12. It was really hard losing her, but she tried to make sure I'd be okay. She left me a small inheritance from her life insurance, specifically meant for my college education. She made my dad promise to save it for when I went to university. My dad met Janet at a church gathering when I was 13 and they got married a year later. Things were okay in the beginning. Janet tried to bond with me by taking me shopping and doing typical stepmom things looking back. I think she just wanted to look good in front of my dad and our relatives. Everything changed after they got married. I decided to take a gap year after high school to work and save more money for college. I got a job at a marketing company doing admin work. They wanted me to get some experience. Before starting my degree, my dad and Janet said I needed to pay rent if I was working. Instead of studying, I agreed since it seemed fair. Even though my friends thought it was weird, I was managing okay until January this year when I found out I was pregnant, the baby's father. And I had dated briefly. He was a colleague who got transferred abroad. He left before I knew about the pregnancy. And I decided not to tell him since. He made it clear he wanted to start fresh in his new country. I know some people might judge me for that, but it felt like the right choice when I told my workplace about the pregnancy. Things got weird. They started cutting my hours, giving my projects to other people. By February, they called me in and said they were restructuring my department. I knew it was because of the pregnancy, but they made it impossible to prove I lost my job, right? When I needed it most, I sat down with Janet and my dad to explain. Situation, I had some savings, but needed a month or two to find new work. I offered to pay partial rent until then. Janet immediately shut that down and said I needed to keep paying the full amount or leave. I brought up my mom's inheritance money thinking maybe I could use a small part of it. Temporarily, that's when I discovered the truth. Janet had taken all that money years ago. She claimed she invested it in some business venture that failed. My dad knew about it, but never told me that money was legally mine left specifically for my education. But they spent it without even asking me. I was devastated. Instead of showing any sympathy, my dad backed Janet completely. He said pregnancy wasn't an excuse to stop contributing to the household. Janet started saying, I got pregnant on purpose to avoid paying rent. She called me manipulative and said I was trying to take advantage of them. I begged for just a few weeks to job hunt. I was about 3 months pregnant, dealing with morning sickness and terrified of being homeless, but that same night, I came home from getting groceries to find Janet putting my stuff in garbage bags. She already called someone to change the locks. The next day, I had no choice but to pack what I could into my old car. It was February and freezing cold. I spent almost 2 weeks sleeping in my car in different parking lots, trying to stay warm with blankets. I was throwing up every morning from pregnancy sickness, scared for my baby, and couldn't believe my own father let this happen. My friend Daphne found out what happened when she saw my car parked at Walmart early one morning. I was washing up in their bathroom before trying to go job hunting. She immediately called her parents, who came and got me. They've been absolutely incredible. They gave me their guest room, helped me find a work-from-home data entry job, and treat me like family. Daphne's mom even reorganized her schedule to take me to all my prenatal appointments. I hadn't heard anything from my dad or Janet since they kicked me out. I figured they were done with me. Then yesterday, my dad started messaging me. Apparently, Daphne's mom posted photos from my baby shower on Facebook. She's friends with some of our family members. So my dad saw them now. He's suddenly demanding grandparent rights. He keeps saying he has a legal right to be in his grandchild's life, and I can't keep his grandbaby from him. This is the same man who watched his pregnant daughter pack her car in winter and did nothing. He's acting like the past few months never happened. What hurts even more is finding out through my aunt that Janet had already ordered new furniture for my room before they kicked me out. She was planning to turn it into her home office. They were going to throw me out regardless of what happened with my job. Me aunt told me Janet had been complaining about wanting to get rid of me for months, saying I was taking up too much space in their lives. I'm due in September and trying to stay focused on keeping myself and my baby healthy, but my dad keeps making new social media accounts to message me about his rights as a grandparent. I've blocked him everywhere I can, but I'm worried he might actually try something legal. When the baby comes, Daphne's parents say I should keep blocking him and document everything. Part of me feels guilty because he's my only living parent. But then I remember sitting in that cold car pregnant and terrified while he chose his wife over helping his own child. I don't think I want someone like that around my baby. Should I bother responding to him? Do I need to get a lawyer? I'm scared he might try to force his way into my baby's life. After showing he didn't care if we lived or died, any advice would really help. Right now, update 1. A lot has happened since my last post. The situation with my father and Janet has gotten much worse than I expected last week. My father actually went through with filing for grandparent rights. I got legal papers delivered to Daphne's house through a courier when I first saw them. I had a complete breakdown. I'm 7 months pregnant now, and the stress is really getting to me. The court papers painted a completely different picture of what happened. My father and Janet claimed I was an unfit mother who abandoned my family during my pregnancy. They wrote that I refused their help and support, choosing to be homeless. Instead, they even suggested I might be using drugs, which explains why Daphne's mom got so angry. Daphne's mom decided to fight back with proof. She posted our security camera footage from February showing Janet throwing my belongings into garbage bags while I stood there crying and begging to stay. The footage clearly shows me being locked out in the cold. She also posted screenshots of all the text messages where they demanded full rent. Knowing I just lost my job, my father tried defending their actions by saying they were teaching me responsibility. He told everyone I needed tough love to learn how to be an adult. According to him, I was too spoiled and needed to face real life. But then my old neighbor Sarah sent me something interesting. She had photos on her phone from the day before they kicked me out. A furniture delivery truck was parked outside their house. Janet had already ordered a complete office set for my room. They'd been planning to kick me out for weeks. The situation got even more twisted when I found out what Janet had been telling people at their church. She spread rumors that they had to kick me out because I was doing drugs, and they were trying to protect themselves. I've never even smoked a cigarette in my life. When Daphne's mom heard about this, she went to their church and confronted Janet after the service. Janet finally admitted she made up the drug story. But the reason was even worse. She said she was tired of having a stepdaughter and wanted me gone before the baby arrived. Despite all this evidence, my father is still defending Janet. He keeps insisting they did the right thing and I'm just being dramatic about everything. When Daphne's mom posted the security footage, he tried claiming it was edited, but as soon as Daphne's dad threatened to show the unedited footage to their lawyer, my father suddenly stopped talking about fake videos. Then I discovered something that hurt even more before throwing out my things. Janet had gone through all my belongings. I had kept some of my mom's jewelry. Nothing expensive, but they were special to me because they were hers. When I finally sorted through everything, I managed to save the jewelry was missing. I asked about it, and Janet claimed she never saw any jewelry. But my aunt went to a family dinner at their house last week and saw Janet wearing my mom's necklace. When my aunt confronted her, Janet actually said she deserved my mom's jewelry for putting up with me all these years. I'm working with a lawyer now thanks to Daphne's parents. They're helping me pay the legal fee since I'm saving everything I can for the baby. My lawyer says my father has absolutely no case for grandparent rights, especially since we have solid proof that they kicked out a pregnant woman and then lied about the reasons. She's also helping me file for a restraining order because they keep showing up at Daphne's house. Unannounced, my aunt feels terrible about everything. She said she should have noticed sooner how Janet was treating me. No, she's been telling other family members what really happened, showing them the evidence Daphne's mom posts. Most of our relatives have blocked both Janet and my father on social media. Instead of accepting responsibility, my father is getting angrier and blaming me for turning the family against them. He even sent a message saying I'm killing him with stress, and if anything happens to Him health-wise? It'll all be my fault. I'm trying my best to stay calm for my baby's sake, but it gets harder every day. I'm just so grateful for Daphne's family. They're planning to throw me a new baby shower next month to replace the one that got ruined by all this drama with Janet and my father after their restraining order goes through. I'm cutting contact completely. I can't keep letting them hurt me and stress me out during my pregnancy. The lawyer says we should have a court date soon for both the restraining order and to dismiss their grandparent rights case. I'll update again when I know more. Update 2: things have taken an unexpected turn since my last update. The restraining order went through without any problems, but Janet found new ways to cause trouble. She showed up at my aunt's birthday party last weekend and started telling when I was faking my pregnancy for attention. When my aunt tried showing her my latest ultrasound photos, Janet actually claimed I stole them from someone else's medical file. She said I was trying to get sympathy from the family to cover up being kicked out, but the biggest revelation came through my cousin Amy, who works at the local bank where Janet has her accounts. Amy discovered something that explained why they really kicked me out 4 months. Before my pregnancy, Janet had been secretly transferring money from my dad's accounts into hers. She was nervous because I sometimes helped Dad with his online banking. When he couldn't figure it out, I could have easily spotted the missing money. Janet needed me gone before I noticed anything suspicious in his accounts. My father had no idea about any of this. He completely believed Janet's story about me needing tough love. She convinced him I was spoiled and needed to learn independence the hard way. She kept telling him I'd thank them later for making me stand on my own feet. The crazy part is even after finding out about the stolen money, my father still tried defending her. He said she must have had good reasons for taking it, and maybe she was saving it for something important. What really blew everything wide open was a message I got from Lucy, Janet's former stepdaughter. She found me through my posts about the situation and shared her own story. 5 years ago, when Lucy was 19, Janet did the exact same thing to her. She convinced Lucy's dad that Lucy was stealing from them. Lucy ended up homeless too. Janet even took her grandmother's jujea before kicking her out, just like she took my mom's necklace when Daphne's mom heard Lucy's story. She got angry. She made a long Facebook post sharing everything the bank transfers, Lucy's story, and the proof of Janet's lies. She posted it where Janet couldn't delete it, so our whole extended family saw it. That's when more stories started coming out. Janet's own sister came forward and admitted Janet had stolen their elderly parents' savings years ago. She'd done this before. Multiple times, my father finally started questioning things. When all these stories emerged, he called me crying last week, saying he realized he'd made a huge mistake. He admitted Janet had been manipulating him for years, making him doubt his own judgment. He said he felt horrible about not protecting me, but he told him it is too late for apologies. No, we chose his wife over his pregnant daughter. He watched me pack my stuff into my car in freezing weather and did nothing to help. He was perfectly fine, thinking I was sleeping in my car. The only reason he's sorry now is because he found out Janet played him too. That's not real love or remorse. The judge threw out their grandparent rights case. Immediately, my lawyer said the evidence of them kicking out a pregnant woman, combined with Janet's lies about drug use and their financial fraud, made them look terrible. The judge was particularly angry about them making up the drug allegations. They also have to pay all my legal fees, which is at least some justice. I'm due to give birth next month and finally feeling at peace. Daphne's parents have been real family to me through all of this. Her mom comes too. Every appointment helped me pick out baby furniture, and they're even setting up a proper nursery in their house. Daphne's little sister gave up her craft room so the baby could have a real bedroom. I've learned that family isn't always about blood. My own father chose money and his wife over me. But Daphne's family chose to help a pregnant woman. They barely knew. They're the kind of people I want in my baby's life. People who help when things get hard, not people who create. More problems. Update 3. My beautiful baby girl Maya arrived in early September, named after my mom. She's healthy, happy, and absolutely perfect. Daphne's parents were with me through the whole birth since my father and Janet couldn't come near the hospital due to the restraining order. Daphne's mom held my hand during labor and her dad paced the waiting room, just like Ariel's grandfather would last month. My father sent me a long email explaining that he finally left it. Apparently, she'd been gambling away his money for years. Not just the small transfers my cousin found, but most of his retirement savings too. She'd also opened credit cards in his name and maxed them all out. He lost their house and had to move into a small apartment in his email. He said losing everything made him understand how I felt being homeless. And Pregnant had begged to meet Maya and tried to rebuild our relationship, but something struck me about his timing. He only reached out after losing his money and house. Not when I had his grandchild, not when he saw proof of Janet's lies about me, not even. When he learned about her history of doing this to other families only. When his bank account got hit, did he suddenly want to make amends that showed me exactly where his priorities lie? Isn't one reply telling him Maya and Yar are doing well, but we don't. Need him in our lives. Daphne's parents are Maya's grandparents in every way that matters. They were there during my scary pregnancy moments, helped me find work, gave us a home, and love Maya like their own flesh and blood. They earned the title of grandparents. Through actions, not just DNA. Janet tried reaching out too. She added me on LinkedIn and posted this fake public apology about learning from mistakes and wanting to make things right. But my cousin at the bank told me Janet's already dating some wealthy older man from her church. She's probably looking for her next victim. I blocked her immediately. My online work has really taken off. I'm making enough money now to rent my own place. Though Daphne's parents insist we stay with them, they say Maya's room is her room for life, a task beautifully decorated with love and care. So different from how Jeanette turned my old room into her office. Out of spite, some relatives keep saying I should forgive my father since he finally left Janet. But they weren't there during those freezing nights in my car. They didn't feel what it was like having their own father choose a thief. Over them, they didn't experience the fear of being pregnant and homeless because the people who should have protected you threw you away instead. Nina will never know that pain or fear. She'll grow up surrounded by people who actually love her, not people who only want her in their lives. When it benefits them, the restraining order is still active, and that's how it is going to stay. I won't let anyone hurt her the way they hurt me. Looking back, I thought, losing both my parents, my mom to cancer and my dad to his own choices, would destroy me. Instead, it showed me what real family looks like. It asks not about sharing blood or last name. It asks about who stands by you when things get hard, who shows up without being asked, who loves you without conditions. Daphne's family proved that Maya and I have all the family we need right here.